烈掌声欢迎 ARM 全球总裁 Mr. Tudor Brown 为我们带来精彩的演说。
In Taiwan, but I must apologize for my voice. It has got a little croaky over the last few days. The ARM vision is really a very simple vision, and it is a world where all electronic products and services are based on energy-efficient technology from ARM, but making life better for everyone. And this is the vision we have had for some time, and I think I will show you it's starting to come true. But first, let's look back how far we've come in just the last 25 years. The first ARM chip, ARM1, was created in 1985. It was built on 3-micron technology. It had about 6,000 gates, and it was about 7 millimeters on a side. Today, Cortex-M0 is the closest we have to that original ARM1. It is the simplest ARM product today. When it's built on 20 nanometer technology, it is about 0.07 millimeters on a side, and it has about 8,000 gates, and so it is about 1/10,000th of the size of that original ARM chip. That's how far we've come together. That's how far this industry has moved in just our short lifetimes. But of course, we don't make chips that small, typically. What happens is that those cores get used in much more complex chips. And so we still typically end up with chips that are about 7 millimeters on a side. But just look at the complexity inside those chips today. And those chips are powering today's smartphones. So whereas the original ARM chip was designed to power a personal desktop computer, a fairly primitive one, these dramatically more complex chips are powering today's advanced smartphones. And that is what we together have brought to the market, and together we are enabling. I think that's a pretty exciting view of what we've achieved together. If we look at the current level of demand, last year there were about 22 billion SoCs made in the world, and we reckon about 28% of those contained ARM technology. Now, those markets range from things like mobile phones, where, of course, ARM has a very, very high market share, through other markets such as DTVs and embedded SoCs, where ARM has around about a 30% market share, through to enterprise disk drives and so on, where, again, ARM is about 50% market share, through then to client computing, tablets, and so on. And if we include tablets and personal computers, then we reckon ARM is at around about 10% market share. And through to servers, where, of course, today ARM has 0 market share. If we look at how that is going to change by 2015, I think the good news is that the total market continues to grow. The estimates are about 34 billion SoCs, a 1.5 times growth by that point. And we expect most of those markets to grow significantly. And within that, I believe that ARM technology will find a bigger place in the market. And so we are confidently predicting that the ARM technology will grow faster than the industry. And I think together we can achieve that. Now, I said the vision for ARM is a world where all products are using ARM. Well, that means that ARM technology has to span from unbelievably cheap. We are already seeing ARM technology used in chips of less than 10 cents, right up to the other end of the scale, where potentially in servers and so on, ARM technology can be used in chips that are costing up to $1,000. So here we have an enormous dynamic range of cost and value. And the ARM architecture is spanning and can span that enormous range. But within that huge range, what we're seeing is that mobile is and always has been the nexus or the focus. And let me show you why. Because, as you know, the mobile market is a very, very tough market. Firstly, obviously, it's constrained by the power envelope because it's driven by small batteries. It's constrained by the physical envelope because you want to put it in your pocket or your handbag. It's constrained by the thermal envelope because it's not comfortable if you are holding something hot in your hand. And it's constrained by cost because these are consumer products. So lots and lots of constraints. But on the other hand, there is an unconstrained need for performance. There is an unconstrained need for functional growth, and that is what makes this market so exciting to us all. And fortunately, there is unconstrained volume at the moment because these products are growing and growing and growing. And so if I was to summarize what we need to do in the mobile space, is to produce something that has infinite performance, infinite functionality, infinite standby time, zero power. It needs to be robust, it needs to be invisible, it needs to be low cost, and you need to be able to make it in very high volume. That's not much to ask, is it? I think you can see, if you can achieve all those things, you can solve most of the challenges of this industry. And that is why ARM has always focused on this mobile space, because in solving those problems, together we solve many of the challenges of this industry. Now, ARM's role in this industry is to drive our roadmaps forward. We fuel those roadmaps by our R&D budgets, and our R&D budget continues to grow. Last year it was well over $150 billion, and this year it will be significantly higher than that. And that is our commitment to you, so that you get a better and growing roadmap in all the product lines that ARM offers. And as a result of that, the licensing base of ARM technology continues to grow. So the Cortex family of ARM processors is what is active today. And in the last year, we have announced the Cortex-A7, the Cortex-R5, and Cortex-R7, and the Cortex-M0 system kit. Those are the popular products at the moment. The Mali graphics continues to gain market share, and Mali T604 and Mali T658 are our latest offerings there. And together, these products are covering very large product bases. I'll come to that in a moment. Because ARM believes that the most efficient way to build these complex systems is through heterogeneous processing. In other words, we believe that you use the right processor for the right task, and you need several processors to achieve the function. And the beauty of this approach is that the ARM technology is incredibly scalable. So if you want low cost and moderate performance, you can build devices with a single Cortex-A7 and a single Mali T604. Or you can combine much more complex products and have a quad-core Cortex-A15 along with a quad-core Cortex-A7 along with an 8-core Mali T658. And anything in between. And so this demonstrates just how scalable and flexible the ARM approach to this technology is. And it's not, of course, just about processors and graphics processors. A lot of ARM's activity is about enabling those processors to be built on semiconductor technology. And we continue to push forward with our physical IP, our libraries, our memories, working with foundries on advanced processor development. And recently, we have been working down to the 14-nanometer technology node. We need to do that in order to work with the foundries to make sure not only that our products can be built, but also that the semiconductor processors themselves are viable and useful for building complex logic blocks. And so we work with the advanced foundries, and the latest technology advances are down at the 14 nanometer node. Over the coming months and years, you will hear more from ARM about security. We have believed for a long time that the opportunity opened up by mobile technology is going to require a higher demand on security. And so it is coming to be true. But we believe that security extends not just across the chip and the device, but into the cloud. And to get correct security, we believe you need not just hardware, but software and services as well. Because we're not just talking about the odd virus or bit of malware. We're talking about much more fundamental security here as we rely more and more on these mobile devices. ARM has been promoting our Trust Zone technology for some time. We see that as the heart of a security system. And actually, at the end of last year, we created a separate division with within ARM, the Secure Services Division. And let me show you why we think this is so critical.